Okay, so this note is about transformation. And what we're going to do, a transformation just means that you're going to move it. We're going to flip it upside down. We're going to move it left, right, up, down. And then we're going to study reflections. And so in this part, this is only about translation. So first of all, before we know some things, we got to know some things about the absolute value function and the quadratic. So an absolute value is the distance from 0. So here's 0 right here. And if I go 6, so the absolute value of 6, so the absolute value of 6 ends up being 6 because that distance that I travel from 0 is 6. And then we have that absolute value that you travel from -6. So the absolute value of 6 written as with the bars in there, -6 is still 6 because that distance I'm traveling is still 6. It doesn't matter if we're going to go forward or backwards. We're just counting how many steps or what that distance is. So in this case, it's just the absolute value. So the absolute value of -4 ends up being +4, ends up being 4. The absolute value of -3 is 3. The absolute value of -2 is 2. The absolute value of -1 is 1. And the absolute value of 0 is 0. The absolute value of 1 is 1. The absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of 3 is 3. And the absolute value of 4 is 4. So when I do this, I go over 4 and I go up. I go to the left 4, -4, up 1. I go -3, up 3. To the left 2, because that's -2, and then up 2, to the left 1, up 1, and then I'm at 0. So now what happens is now you notice that this goes back to here, and I go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up another 1, over 1, up 1, over 2, up 2, over 3, up 3, and over 4, up 4. So this makes the shape of a V. So that absolute value graph is called a V graph. So that's the first one that we're going to study in this unit, the first types of functions and the first types of graphs. The second types of graphs that we're going to study is quadratic. Now, quadratic is y equals x squared. And don't ask me why they call it a quadratic, but they do. So basically what happens is you're going to square the number. Notice that when I put this in and I have -4, when I go through and I do that, I squared and I put it in parentheses. The reason why you have to put it in parentheses like that is because if you don't, when you go on to Desmos, so if I look onto Desmos, so if I just go -4 and then I square it, I get -16. However, if I put this in parentheses and I go -4 and then I hit squared, I get +16. So it's really important that you put the negative number, the parentheses around your number, because then that way you're going to get the right thing. And so -4 times -4 is +16. -3 times -3 is +9. -2 times -2 is +4. And -1 times -1 is 1. 0 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. And 4 times 4 is 16. So, and if you look, I pretty much put all of these little numbers on your graph. So this makes a U. So this particular graph makes a U shape. So this one is going to be that U-shaped graph. And what I want you to notice, and this is really important. We start, and the thing with these absolute value graphs, or quadratics, we have what is called the vertex. And that's that point with when the direction changes. So if I go back and I look at this vertex, So where the direction changes, see, I'm going to go, all this is I'm going down, down, down. So it's getting smaller, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 1, and then 0. And then right here at that point, at 0, then I start getting bigger. My direction changed. So I start when going to 1 to 2. And if you notice, I'm going down and then my graph goes up. So that right there is your vertex point. And my vertex point for this one is 0, 0. And then we go to here, again, your vertex point in which the direction changes. So I'm going down, 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 and then again, I'm hit right here, and then it starts to change. Again, my numbers are going smaller, 16, 9, 4, 1, 0, and then they start to increase, 1, 4, 9, 16. So it's going smaller, stops, and then I change direction and I start going up. So that vertex point on both of these, I'm using V for vertex, is 0, 0. So that's your vertex point. The thing is to get your points from on a quadratic, it always goes from your vertex point. When I move to the right 1, I go up 1. When I move to the right 2, I go up 4. So this distance is 4. When I go to the right 3, this distance is 9. When I go over to the right 4 from my thing, this distance is 16. So there's a big difference. There's a big gap between these things. It's a bigger gap because it's changing bigger and bigger. It's not by the same amount. So this one is 4, this one is 9, this one is 16. So this is 4, 9, 16. So same thing when I move to the left. I move to the left 1. Then when I go over 2, I'm going to go up 4. When I go over 3 to the left, I'm going to go up 9. And then when I go over 4 to the left, I'm going to go up 16. So it's, again, that same thing. So it always depends on that particular vertex point. And then those are the graphs that we are studying for this.